tonight. Bill Paxton passed away.
Yes.
Today's an odd day.
He did. That's sad.
Yeah.
It's an odd day. And he's in the middle of his show, too. I think he's like Training Day. I don't know how it's doing in the ratings.
What's this show?
Training Day.
Oh.
He's the star of Training Day.
I thought you said Crane Day.
Yeah. No, that's a different show.
It's a different show.
That's on TLC. That's about the construction workers. The whole thing. Ice Road Truckers. Hazel Hayes is with us.
Hazel.
Hey, have we started?
Oh, we're starting.
Yeah, we
Dive into
happening?
this pool.
Yeah, we're in it.
Okay. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Hi. I'm good, thank you. I have to focus really hard on not letting my accent slip into American. It's very difficult.
No, let it slip.
That's
It's
all right.
hilarious.
Yeah, we gotten used to
Every time.
Tim H. Every single time he's on, where it.
Tim H sounds like he's from nowhere now. Like, he doesn't-
Tim's he's a whole other ball game.
He's
Yeah,
from, like,
I know.
He's got an Atlantis accent at this point. He's from absolutely.
Yeah, he does a bit.
Yeah. So.
It suits him though.
What's that?
It's so irrelevant. So irrelevant. This delay is going to be just so much fun.
We're gonna have fun.
boy.
Don't worry. We're gonna have fun tonight.
Do your show.
Everybody
You,
will
you
wank
do
chum
your
tonight.
show. Sometimes I'll
Welcome-
say things and you won't hear them, and that's fine.
Well.
Yeah.
Welcome, just like everyone else in my life. Welcome to Reasonable Beef, everybody. I am Tim E. Kish. Woo! And I'm here with who's here, Dom?
Hey, well, me.
It's Dom, and I already said Hazel's here. Say hi again, Hazel.
You did.
Where do we know
Hey
you
again,
from,
Hazel.
Hazel? Tell them who you are.
Where do you know? You know me from Six Flags.
I do know you from Six Flags. We went on a great adventure together. Oh, I'm sorry. We went on a Magic Mountain
did.
Yeah,
together.
Magic Mountain.
It sounds like we got really high.
We did.
Where do people know me from? The internets, the interwebs, if you will.
Yeah.
YouTuber.
Where, yeah, I'm a bit of a YouTuber. I make video content for online consumption.
You sure?
I've never said that sentence before in my life.
Holy shit.
Yeah, we bring out the best in everybody. We try to
Yeah,
make
you
people
really do.
speak in ways they've never thought were possible.
Her business card, she has like 3 business cards stapled together, like next to each other that list that long title.
Making videos, content.
Because I don't know what to tell people. Because I do make videos for YouTube. Also, I'm kind of segueing into becoming a scriptwriter. I think that's what's happening. I'm a
absolutely.
filmmaker and a
Should say
director
that.
and a writer.
Say filmmaker.
And I do things.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
where you're from
Yeah.
hardly matters. It's where you're going.
Hey, reasonable
Gandhi,
beef.
Hey.
Gandhi, Reasonable Beef said that. Okay, so we saw Lego Batman, everybody.
Lego.
Woo!
Batman.
Woo! 2017 film. Who directed this?
Oh, Christ.
Who's this guy? The guy. He's someone who worked on the script for the Lego movie. He's a Harvard
Chris
alum, I
McKay.
wanna say. Chris McKay.
Chris McKay.
Chris
Oh, okay.
McKay.
I do know who that is.
This is the
then.
guy. Yes. And
Yeah,
this-
he
this
did. He
had
did a lot of Robot Chicken stuff.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, he did the first 2 or 3 seasons of
Right,
Robot
right,
Chicken.
right.
Yeah, I enjoyed this. I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
And all right, thanks everyone.
Guys,
Thanks
thanks
for
for being
joining
here.
us. Thanks for
Good,
everyone.
okay.
Reasonable Beef.
Good show.
No, it's good. I'm worried with things like, because it goes both ways, where when there's something that's very bland, that's hard to talk about because you don't have a lot to like criticize it for, or when there's something that you just sort of unabashedly enjoyed. And like, especially with this, we always go by what is the thing trying to do, and is it playing by its own rules and everything. And when it just basically is what it is, and you cannot deny what it's up to,
Yeah.
it's hard to like, well, what do you really
exactly.
say about it? Like, it knew what it was doing and it did it.
Yeah. Should we have picked a different movie? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I think there's interesting.
There's definitely some interesting things to talk about. I don't know if we're gonna have too
I
much.
think there are. I think there are for
yeah.
sure.
But
I
yeah,
don't have a lot of beef with this movie.
I have some
no. Oh.
I've got some filet mignon.
Do we want to talk about them fillets?
Wait, hold on. So we're starting with beef, or we're just jumping right in with the bad?
I
shit?
always
Is that-
start with beef.
Yeah.
No potatoes,
Great.
no green beans. I eat my beef first. I'm
to
gonna
the
jump
beef.
right into it.
You're
My biggest
one
disappointment
crazy
with the movie.
fool.
You know what? I don't need you to tell me that. I have a flamethrower in every room in my house. I know I'm crazy. Hey, so listen here. Compared to Lego Movie, I was a little
I'm
disappointed.
sorry, you've broken me a tiny little bit. I just need a second.
Yep. Reasonable beef, everybody.
It's because nobody else can like hear what's happening, and it's just my audio. It's just going to be me, just like laughing by myself. It just occurred to me how ridiculous that is.
We're gonna
like,
just
to the people in this, to
we're
the people
gonna release
outside
this.
in this apartment, I just keep wooing and clapping every once in a while. I'm like, they can't hear you.
We definitely have to just. We're gonna upload exclusively Hazel's track.
Yes.
Just Hazel's stem for this episode.
It doesn't
Brilliant.
even faze me. It's just Los Angeles. Like all of my neighbors woo and clap, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm just not gonna look at that guy.
Yeah.
Let's just keep moving on.
Don't know what he's up
It's not very London.
I wanted to compare this movie to Lego Movie, and I know it's not a super fair comparison. I mean, they
It's
are
fair,
up
and it's
to different
basically a
things.
sequel.
Yeah, it's a more or less a
I
spin-off.
think it's a fair comparison.
But I think it's more. This is the sugary bits of the Lego Movie with the pop culture references and the silliness, and it's really funny. But I was really missing that emotional punch that Lego Movie had. I actually cried in Lego Movie.
Yeah.
The father-son thing, and about how the Legos and toys are all about connecting with like your an older generation or passing things down. That fucking floored me. Like,
I mean,
because
but you
I
can't-
wasn't expecting it at all.
Well, what would you do again? Like,
I don't
we know
but,
what.
like, but they tried to do something with like the little family thing, but it never quite
Sure.
followed. I mean, it followed through, but it never. I don't know. It didn't.
It was
hook
just
me.
cute.
It's stupid to say that the Lego Batman movie didn't hook me with
Didn't
its
make you
like
cry.
emotional premise. But, like, I don't know. When the last one did, I feel the
understand.
need to raise it.
Yeah, you get a little disappointed.
Okay.
I'm sure. Yeah, that's fair.
No, that's valid. It did get me emotionally
Nice.
in
Really?
response. So maybe just
Okay.
yeah.
Which parts?
I had a little cry. Now look,
Okay.
I cry a lot. Okay.
No, you know
Like,
what? I'm with
it's
you
not,
on it.
It's not hard. But what doesn't get me is like bad films, like bad soppy shit, like Collateral Beauty. That's just designed to make people cry. Will not make me cry.
Yeah, that one came up on last episode as well.
Yeah, everyone hates Collateral.
Shit, it's so bad. Like, I want to watch it with you guys just so we can take the piss. But this, I think the bit where he, like, the family photograph thing, kind of got me. Like, he's just so alone, and his parents are gone, and he's trying to put on this front of, like, I'm okay, and I can do everything by myself, and got to put on this tough exterior, but actually, I'm really fucking sad and alone, and I don't really know what to do about that. And I guess that probably just struck a chord with me.
Yeah.
Wow. But,
Sick.
But yeah, I think there was a nice emotional resonance to it, and for the kid, Michael Cera's character, Dick something, I can't
Dick
remember his
Grayson.
surname.
Yeah.
That's the one. Yeah, like his enthusiasm and his like the way he idolized Batman and stuff. Yeah, I found that kind of sweet. And
I'm a
charming.
sucker. A hug. I've said this before.
Yes,
a
you are.
hug in a movie most always gets me. Especially a happy hug. Like sad hugs, not so much like when it's like goodbye, I'll never see you again. But like when it's two people that have, or like one of them's been real rugged the whole time and like is too cool for school, and then someone hugs them and they need it.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck. That one
It's
gets
like
me.
that. It's Goodwill Hunting. It's like that's the epitome.
Oh
of
God,
the
yeah,
emotional
that is
hug.
it. That is
For me, it's dog face licking. I don't know what that says about me. I don't feel anything when humans interact,
Wow.
but when a dog has like reunited with
Yep.
its owner,
When
oh
a
man,
dog wants to
Okay.
show
I'm
you.
puddles.
Yep.
I'm sorry. So your point.
No, but so like that I think no matter what they did, like again, for as silly as it is, and for as what's the word, like sugary as the message comes across through the movie, I still felt like when Batman and Robin hug, and when he's finally like, yeah, okay, you're my son, and like you're like, oh yeah, that's nice. Like I wanted that. I really wanted to see. It didn't really get me to cry, but I was surprised when they hugged that I had a feeling, because it was one of those ones similar to like Guardians of the Galaxy, where when the big muscle alien who doesn't understand metaphors sits down and pets the fake raccoon, and I start to
Batista and Rocket.
Yes. But just to illustrate
he
how
knows.
The way you described that
fake
was so
raccoon.
brilliant, though.
That would be incredible if
big,
he didn't
stupid
remember the
one.
name of the characters.
but I just remember
I thought he didn't, and that's what he was.
No,
he was just
no.
like,
I'm just
trying-
saying it's insane that then, like, when that's happening, and then I start to
Oh.
like well up.
Yeah.
that's just
Got
a testament
it,
to
got
the
it.
magic of movies, right?
yeah,
so it's like,
well, that's
Sure,
why
that
when
they
you
can
take
make
this-
you care about that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So when two things that are not even a real Lego thing
Yeah.
in real human physical space are hugging each other, and I have like an emotional reaction, that's awesome. Like, God bless for figuring that out.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I was gonna say too, like as far as the message, like like you were saying with the sadness thing, or like that he's no, I'm fine, I don't need anybody, but he actually does need something. Like, there's something interesting, I think, especially kid wise, to have something that says that, because I think it's not like people kind of know that. We know that thing, and you I mean, like adult humans have we've heard this lesson before and everything, but there's something interesting about framing it in a Batman package for someone who's like a kid,
like 10 to 12-year-olds who are just starting to get like, I don't need anybody.
Yeah,
like
well, I can do it all
attitude.
myself, and like, oh, I'm too cool, and especially Batman, who is the epitome of like pop culture cool.
Yeah,
who's like, you're taking that guy and you're kind of bringing him down. Like, no, come on, everybody need, like, you got to open up. You got to, everybody needs a little bit of a family.
Yeah, and I think as well there was a lovely message in like the fact that his sort of biological family were gone and he felt very alone, and suddenly he sort of had created this new family.
Right. Oh,
who,
yes.
Weren't necessarily related to him, but when he hangs up the second picture beside the first one, it's like, it's a lovely lesson for kids as well, that it's like, you know what, if your nuclear family didn't work out for whatever reason, that's okay. You can make friends and you can move on, and you can sort of find a new family, and you can be just as happy as you would have been. So I think that was a nice message as well. That sort of got me.
And it's funny because, so from like a deep nerd perspective, this is what later Batman comics were all about, with the Bat family and like being together. And this is, interestingly enough, the only Batman movie out of 11 Batman movies that's even tackled that or even approached that at all. Like the super important theme of the Batman books, which was like family at certain points.
Well, I don't know. I feel like Joel Schumacher really hit the nail on the head there with.
I was about to say.
That was a
Robin.
Weird family. That was
such
that was a
don't you know, because
like
I knew
no
this
other.
Call might descend into me just bitching about the Joel Schumacher Batman films. So don't let that happen.
How dare you come onto my podcast?
Yeah, Tim loves those.
And talk shit about the Joel Schumacher Batman movies.
No.
I will let you know that I have a Bat credit card in my wallet.
Oh, God.
Right now.
I don't care.
Every breastplate I own has nipples
credit
on it.
card.
No,
he
it's
shouldn't
his-
have had a fucking credit card.
No, what he
Why
did was
he
took a credit card and he cut it up like the Batman logo, and every time he
So
tries to use it, they're like,
stupid.
I can't. You ruined
This
the
card.
barcode. I can't do anything with this.
Sir, we cannot accept this. You've glued a bat symbol to it. It's
And then he just grumbles and he slinks into like the food aisles. But
Sorry. Well, let's not fight about Joel Schumacher's Batman.
So there's also something interesting. I want to just kind of like talk about what I think is the most interesting, because it really was striking me while I was watching it, how kind of bonkers it is that this movie is entirely like, it's a Batman movie. It's Warner Brothers making a quote unquote Batman movie, right? But it's entirely based in the zeitgeist Batman, in the like what we all sort of know of who Batman is, and that he's really cool and he's so grumpy, and like, and I get it's a parody in a lot of ways, so they're making fun of it, but that's like, when you really think about the fact that that's why this got made. It got made on the idea that we have now made about Batman over the last 70 years or however.
Interesting.
Like, that's very strange. I remember I'll never forget reading the Max Landis script. It kind of reminded me of this, reading Max Landis's Frankenstein script, and it's on the front page of it. It doesn't say based on the story by what's her name? Mary Shelley. It doesn't say that. It says like based on the pop cultural zeitgeist of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So it's like that. It's so weird that now we have these properties and these characters that have they've just become. It's become more of the knowledge that everybody shares about them, less than the actual stories that happen inside.
Yeah, that's a really interesing point.
So here's the question.
He's no longer the sort of
I just want to like ask: do you think that this is a movie for Batman fans? And do you sort of see what I'm getting at with that? Sure. Like, I don't know.
But then define a Batman fan, because like, were you a fan of the comics? Did you grow up as a kid in the 50s and 60s reading Batman comics, or did you love the show in the 60s with Adam West, or did you love Tim Burton's adaptation, or Joel Schumacher's, or Chris Nolan's? Or like, when you say Batman fan, I think it's unfair to be a bit elitist about that and be like, well, you're not really a Batman fan unless you love the original, depiction of him or whatever. So yeah, I think it's absolutely. I would call myself a Batman fan. I would call myself a superhero fan, and I love this movie. So for that reason, I would say yes, it is.
Right.
Yeah, that's it, and that's exactly it. That's hitting the nail on the head. Where there's no wrong way to like Batman. Like if you like the character,
Oh, there
this will
is
be
though. If
silly.
you like the Joel Schumacher Batman, that's
Oh, I will. Where's that hang up button? Where's that big red hang up button? Listen, they're not good movies. They're not good movies, but they are a visual treat, and they are a homoerotic tour de force. They are the two gayest movies ever made, and they need to be honored for that.
You know, somehow it's taken like 12 reasonable beefs to have homoerotic tour de force said. You would think that shit would have came up way far
That's
ago.
actually on my business card.
homoerotic tour de force. Oh shit! They should have put that on the DVD cover. I might have respected the films more if they just
did you see the
Travis
re-release?
Rolling
the fuck they
Stone.
were.
The Blu-ray re-release? Oh, it's just the bat nipples. It's just the bat nipples on a printed tin case.
Is that true?
No.
And the
should be.
DVDs are like boobs. Awful.
So like,
anyway,
just to dig in on that, because I'm not saying that I'm taking a stance on this. I just found it interesting to think, because
Yeah.
like there is an argument to be made, just to play devil's advocate, that this kind of isn't like, when you think of when someone's a fan of Batman, or you take sidestep over to anyone, Spider-Man, Superman, when you think of why people like a character, right? And then when something's made because of people liking that character, that's what's funny about this. This isn't really doing that. It's not. This isn't a Batman movie that's being made what am I trying to say? Like,
You're just repeating the same point, I think.
no,
Right,
it's not
with the
being
universe.
made like in what people like about Batman. It's not
yeah.
like this isn't Batman in the way everyone wants to see him
here's
realize.
the way I
But
rationalized
that's why it's
it.
fun.
So something interesting about these Lego movies is that, like, if you really watch these movies and you look at the fringes of
Yeah.
what's actually happening in these movies, it's very reasonable to think that this is like a kid's fantasy. Like he's just
Right.
pulling in
Yes.
we have Sauron and we have Voldemort because he has those
Yeah.
other Lego sets. So of
Yes.
course they're going to take
Yeah.
place in the Batman story.
Which is-
That's what this universe is.
Yes.
This is some kid's fantasy with all the pop culture shit and Legos that he has making up a story. That's the way I view it.
Agreed.
yeah,
that's
and
what I
the
love.
first one was quite meta in that respect, and
Yes.
I think the second one kind of pays homage to that without being as overt about it. Like
Exactly.
we don't see the real world here, but I think we definitely you see there's at one point where like the sort of foundation of the city might break, and you understand that actually is a kid with Lego on the table, and that underneath that is a table. Of some kind.
Exactly.
And I love that it only exists in this like plane of existence, because underneath the Lego there is sort of nothing.
Yes.
Which is I think is the most kind of direct reference that they make to the fact that the first one was so meta and that this is just a kid playing with Lego. But yeah, if you're looking at it as this is this kid's depiction of all of these characters, and that's what he's going to have got from pop culture.
Agreed.
So yes, I can see why they, and arguably actually, and I'm going to go on a full rant now. I'm not
it.
even. I won't.
That's what this is
I won't
about.
go on a rant. But
Make sure it's reasonable.
it's not about this film. It's about, so I tweeted something along these lines, right? When, the reason, fuck hell.
Here we go.
Make a point, Hazel. Here we go. Okay. It's interesting that you bring up that this may or may not be the sort of real version of Batman, when the last movie I saw made by DC about Batman and Superman was the most fucking far-flung possibility
Yeah. And offensive
of how
in that.
those characters would turn out. Like they nothing they did was character affirming.
Definitely.
Superman is supposed to be, this loyal, ethical, firm believer in democracy and good at all costs, and he just fucking isn't. He's like this idol who enjoys people worshipping him. And Batman is supposed to be level-headed and brooding and a detective and, again, doing everything for the good of mankind, but in a different way. And he's just not fucking doing that. He's just running around the city beating the shit out of
He's
everyone.
just mad.
Losing his mind.
It's he's just out for revenge, and that was never him. There was always some vendetta, but it was never just he's going around beating people out of this just dark like revenge mission.
The bonkers shit there. Oh, I'm sorry, please.
Okay, so the point that I'm getting to is, I tweeted something about, I tweeted about the Lego Batman movie, and I said, in particular, I really enjoyed it, and in particular, I thought it had better female representation than any other DC film I've seen in a while.
It's very true.
Yeah.
And somebody decided to retweet me on some kind of superhero fanatic like Twitter account, and I got quite a lot of shit.
Really?
Entirely and solely from fucking men who obviously had their ego bruised in some way. And the shit that I got was so disgusting and horrid and threatening, simply because I'm a woman trying to make a point about Batman. Like, honestly, they are such hardcore DC fans. And then I found this really interesting thing where I would look at their accounts, and there was this massive crossover between hardcore DC fans and Trump fans. And like the one guy who was giving me the most shit, like really horrible threats and stuff, he was like, his feed was entirely tweeting DC stuff and Trump stuff, which anyway, I just found really interesting.
You mean to tell me that that the people who idolize an all-powerful god like Justicar, who will bring justice and honor to the world, and a billionaire who does whatever the fuck he wants, worship Donald Trump?
It's strange.
That's unbelievable.
Well, but
I tweeted a few months ago, I wonder what the crossover between Suicide Squad fans and Donald Trump fans is. I'd like to see a Venn diagram, and people got very angry, but I actually think that it's true. So anyway, point being, what was my point? Is that it's just interesting that you bring up this thing about the characters and like whether they're true to what they used to be when the other DC stuff isn't.
Yeah. Well, the crazy thing about that whole thing to me is that how self-aware this movie is. So like clearly people at WB get what Batman is and like what to do with it. And then in the same house, in another room, there's someone making Batman versus Superman. Right. You know what I mean? Like, how could things... Yeah. Why didn't he just walk down the hallway, knock on the door, and be like, hey, guys, how does this work? Like, how do I do the Batman?
Yeah.
Well, that's what's interesting is, like, two things. First of all, on your thing here, Hazel, about that happening, that's insane, first of all.
Hilarious.
What's more insane is that what you said was a positive thing.
Yeah.
You said a positive thing, and then that somehow got taken as if you taking away from something else.
They started quoting Wonder Woman at me. They were like, but what about all that she gets in this movie and her role? And I'm like, sorry, the fact that she just sort of turns up with no backstory and fights a little. And I think that there's this brilliant thing that I talk about a lot, where people talk about a strong female character and they see her as this Amazonian godlike creature. And so, well, she's strong. Yeah, but what I mean by a strong character is one that's written, that there's strength in the writing, and they're complex and they are flawed and they're interesting and they're intelligent and dumb at the same time, and they're emotional, and they are human. They're 3D. Right. I don't mean someone with muscles. And so everyone on the internet went absolutely fucking spare at me about the fact that, like, well, Wonder Woman was a great female character. And I was like, well, actually, no. What's happened is that this kids movie has better representation than any of the other DC movies. And I'm taking the Nolan Batman franchise out of this because I did actually love those. But I'm talking about in recent years what they've done with Man of Steel and Batman versus Superman, and what I'm sure they're going to do with Wonder Woman, which is absolutely bastardized the entire fucking franchise.
Yeah, we've talked about this. Like, people need to go see Wonder Woman just because it's gonna suck.
Yes.
But they're gonna be like, oh, it's because it was a Wonder Woman. And but to your point, for the female representation, what did you think was the really solid female representation? Obviously, Barbara Gordon.
Mm-hmm.
I just think great to, like, somebody somewhere sat down at a table full of people, probably predominantly men, and said, you know what, let's take Commissioner Gordon out of this one. Let's replace him with his daughter, Barbara, who in the comics had only ever really served to be a victim. That's true in The Killing Joke. I'm not that familiar with her story outside of that. And let's give her... a real place in this movie, and let's make her serve a purpose. And again, like I was just saying, be complex and interesting and have flaws. Like she's also a little bit high and mighty, and she also kind of butts head with Batman to begin with, but they sort of learn to deal with each other. I don't think she's perfect and he's not. Yeah, and she sort of kicks ass and fights alongside the big boys, as it were, and is also just a good character, I guess. And I applaud them for making that decision to replace Gordon with her.
That's cool. When they introduce her, she immediately like makes Batman pointless because she's like, I can do everything you can do. So it's like,
But
yeah,
like,
doesn't
but
matter.
even beyond that's interesting. I didn't think about it that way in just the DNA of the movie in this, because you're right. It was a decision that we've seen Gordon a million times, right? And like they kind of do with Gordon the same thing they do with Batman, where
I
it's
think
like,
he literally goes, "All right, bye bye." Like the last time we see him.
and he's just like was like really good at turning on the bat signal, right? Like, and that, like the joke is that he's
it was like, no, leave it to Batman, and she's just like, what are you talking about? They're killing people,
and that's fun. And so I guess I also just want to like quickly double back a little bit on the character, because I think what we're saying, especially with what you're saying about Batman versus Superman, and how like it's funny how that was them trying to do what they thought was what people wanted from these characters, and it became like offensive. It like you said, it was a bastardization in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
so it's like funny that in this there's the argument that this is almost truer. This is almost more of like made for people who care about Batman. Do you know what I mean? Because it's clearly made by someone who cares about Batman.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean? Whereas you get the impression on the other one, they're like, if this was the kind of movie you were constructing and you cared about Batman, it wouldn't feel this way. Well, it's funny too about him losing his mind in Batman vs. Superman, is like, that would work in like the second movie.
Yeah.
After we'd seen him be level-headed, right?
Yeah.
Because then you'd be like, oh my God.
Yeah, this is a big deal.
You would be like, I don't like seeing him this way. I don't like seeing
Instead of
him out
relying
his
on
mind.
that cultural understanding of what Batman's like, but never actually showing us that.
Right.
Like
This comes down to what we could easily spend an hour on in itself.
Yeah,
which is
absolutely.
DC jumped into stories that weren't ready to be told yet, and had they just done what Marvel did and tried to actually introduce the characters, shocking way of going about it before they threw them into scenarios, they would have done better.
We'd be 4 movies deep. We'd already be establishing the DC universe at this point. They would have done fine. We didn't need to like dive into the fucking like Zod fight for the first goddamn movie. Like,
True. No.
I don't know. Maybe they have a plan. They don't. But maybe
yeah,
they do.
it feels like maybe having to pare it back and having to sit down and go, okay, this is a kid's movie. The narrative needs to be easily understood, but also have a message. We're going to have a 3-act structure. We're going to tell a story like a story should be told. And there's going to be character arcs. And there's going to be reasons why things happen, and the plot is going to help define the character arcs, and the characters are going to help define the plot. And this is basic storytelling 101. Yeah. But I think maybe having to pare it back and make it a kid's film in some ways is what lent to it being arguably, okay, it's a parody and it's over the top funny and silly, but it's aware of that, I think, and ultimately even with all that, it's a better Batman story than what DC have been putting out recently.
Yeah, even the stuff of like the Phantom Zone, like that's pulling into like DC
strange
lore. It's like that's kind of rad that they pulled that out of their ass.
Yeah, but again, that's like a kid, right?
Yeah,
it's like a kid who knows what the Phantom Zone is. Comics, he knows because of Zod getting like.
I want to talk about some of the comedy in this movie. Yeah. Because some of it didn't land for me. Some of the jokes didn't land, but like, who cares? Because there's so many jokes in this movie that they're constantly throwing at you. When one doesn't land, there will be 2 more in like a second.
Yeah, you don't get
it doesn't stop. And this is a movie that I feel like I could rewatch a couple times in like a year from now, maybe 2 years from now, because I will forget most of the punchlines for these jokes, because there's the breadth of the shit that they wrote. Well, it's incredible.
It's even in the comedy. This is like more into what you're saying, and this is something that I realized leaving this movie is what I love about these Lego movies, is that it is so unmistakably like fun, and it somehow captures that energy of just making shit up and people making jokes, and it's so like
it feels like a writer's room. We just think this is funny, and we're just gonna every second try to figure out how to make it as funny as we possibly can, and like that energy is so infectious. And when you're sitting there, you're watching it, you don't even realize like. It's just happening, and you're just so along for the ride. It's like I say when you watch a good movie, it's how like incredible it is, and this is across the board. It doesn't matter what kind of genre it is. Where like you just feel so comfortable. You feel like someone's like reaching out their hand and just being like, "It's okay, relax, come with me."
and you just get to just sit back and be taken by the hand, like, oh, I trust you, I know what you're doing, and you know what
that's
you're
how
doing.
I felt with this. I really enjoyed the ride. You know what I mean? Like from beginning to end, I was smiling, I was engaged, I cared. Like I cared more about these characters than I have done in a lot of live action I've seen. And it's unapologetically silly, you know, and like you say, some of the jokes don't land, but as you say, there's so many, it's just throwing them out there and not being sorry for them. And hey, that one didn't land. Well, here's a couple more. They'll make you chuckle if nothing else. And you're not maybe, you know, laughing out loud at everything, but I certainly was chuckling my way through it. And there were things that being in a cinema watching it with adults and kids was really interesting because the kids were laughing at different parts. Which I think is very clever, that you have to layer it in that way to make sure that they're having fun, but also that there's enough there for the adults to enjoy.
That's true. There was an ebb and flow to it that I really felt with, you know, some of the like "come at me, bro." Like that's clearly for the younger like meme kids. Like they're into that kind of stupid t-shirt bullshit. And then there was like cute stuff for adults. It was a good time.
It was a good time.
It was a very smart.
I feel like Tim's coming around to it.
Whoa, I did not come around to it. I just said that its emotional core isn't there. I never said that it wasn't a fucking really, really funny and enjoyable silly movie.
I got the impression that you didn't really enjoy it. Okay. Oh, you just prefer the straight up Lego movie is what you were saying.
Yeah.
Just as far as even the plot thing about you saying you cared about what was happening to these characters and everything, there's something interesting again about the fact that it is so silly, and there are like the rules are not really defined. Like they are in a way, but the rules are basically telling you, oh, you have no idea what could happen in the next.
Hey, did I miss some kind of like advertising thing where they talk about the master builder? And like, was that a thing from the last movie?
He says master build initiate or something in this,
but they keep using it like in the end. Like he's got the thing that transforms. I'm like, is this some kind of like advertising?
Well, in the Lego
thing
movie, if you were a master builder, they were like a kind of Lego person.
Okay, right.
Who could just build and make anything.
Yes,
so he's a master builder, right? And whatever. But yeah, like as far as like being kept along for the ride, you have no idea. Like you didn't think Sauron was gonna show up at the end of this movie and Voldemort. Like, so there's something interesting about like because they're unlimited in that way. It almost the plot wise is able to hold your attention in a little. Not in a better way, but just in a different way because you have zero clue because they can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
And so you're like, oh, I really like once he's in jail, when you know that you've seen this in movies or the superhero movie or whatever, where the guy's locked up and you're like, okay, we know he's getting out for the final fight, but you don't really know how. And in this, it is very much like, I'd want like, what are they gonna do? Like, how are they gonna get out of this once all these guys are in the city and it's this insane army of villains? Like, you're just like, yeah, well, how do you fix that? How do you fix that problem? I mean, that's kind of what comics is in a lot of ways anyway. Yeah. Because you know Spider-Man's not dying, but you're just kind of like, all right, well, how are you going to deal with now everybody on Manhattan has spider powers, right?
Yeah. And also because they've added that emotional weight, which understandably, like, you didn't feel as much, Tim. But I guess there's personal stuff at stake is what I mean. Like, whether or not they defeat the baddies, there's also, you know, is he going to accept this Robin character in his life, and him and Alfred were sort of on bad terms for a bit, and are they going to make up? And him and Rosaria Dawson, who plays Barbara, didn't see eye to eye at first, and so you've got all these character conflicts, and obviously his personal stuff about beginning the movie quite lonely, and I think they do that so well. Speaking of the comedy, I think maybe my favorite joke in the whole thing was when he's just microwaving the lobster, because like. It just got me in a silly Family Guy carry the joke on way too long way.
Something insane just happened in our call because literally you said just the part that got me was, and then it went, and then you came back. You were like, "Oh, it just got me." So we have no idea what you just said.
The exact part we needed to hear.
That's what I said. So
no, but
really got me.
Yeah, I love that part too.
Yeah, it's great. I really enjoyed it. Hey, speaking of comedy, let's talk about the cast. The cast real quick. Wow, like a stand-up comedy. So we got Jenny Slate's on the cast, Doug Benson, Billy D. Williams.
Billy D. I know. I didn't realize that.
Weird.
So there was this thing apparently where he signed a deal with Tim Burton in the 90s that he would eventually play Two-Face in the movies. And apparently that didn't pan out. So like, I guess that's why they brought him back as like a little
Oh my
nod.
God, that's really
There's a lot of
interesting.
weird
And
nods in this movie.
the other thing about the casting, which I found really funny, was obviously Ray Fiennes is playing Alfred.
Yes.
And then Voldemort turns up, which is fucking hilarious. But that's actually Eddie Izzard.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, okay.
But I didn't realize.
I read the interview about that. And he says, like, we honestly didn't even, like, think about it until we had Eddie Izzard in for Voldemort and, like, looked over, saw Ray Fiennes. We were like, huh.
Really?
Which I think is fucking incredible. Like, that is the way that story would play out.
They might have
That's funny.
cast, Eddie Izzard first or whatever.
Maybe.
They might have cast one of them first, and then you just sort of, as they went along, and then brought someone else in. They just kind of didn't put it together. Do you think that they're like, Ray Fiennes is like in there, like across him in the booth, and he's like,
I could. Oh, never mind. Next one, please.
you should try to. It's fine. It's fine. No, it's fine. just if you just.
I like to think that that's what went down. Yeah.
Great. The Daleks joke was funny too. Now that just hit me because I'm thinking about
they're like, ask your nerd friends.
Ask your nerd British robots. Ask your nerd friends.
That was
funny.
You know what got me though was so the whole thing about the Phantom Zone was like Zod was in there,
Right.
but then they went in. And he very much was not a part of
he
what
wasn't there
went
anymore.
down. What
That's
happened
true.
to Zod? What was that? Why bring him
I
up?
guess for the Lego Superman movie.
Yeah, if they were to do that, I mean, I guess you could argue though that then they would have had to bring in like the Justice League and Superman and everything, or like Superman would have shown up to stop Zod.
Yeah, and they
See,
only
this is because
negotiated.
I said maybe if they brought Zod in, it was like, although obviously the internal logic of this was fucking batshit, so maybe it doesn't matter, but Zod is sort of so powerful that maybe it added too much of a threat to have to deal with in the storyline. And you're right, then you kind of need to bring Superman in, and it's not his thing.
Right, and then it's not
I don't
Batman
know.
solving all the problems.
Oh, here's a thing that was obviously hilarious. Well, it was for me anyway. But I really, really relished, in fact, that they gave a better exposition and rationale for the Suicide Squad in the Lego Batman movie in the space of about 5 minutes than they did in the actual Suicide Squad film. It's ridiculous.
I don't even know. So what? Wait, recap me.
He
What
literally
happens
says
again?
like the villains show up and he's like, who are they sending in? The Suicide Squad? Like at one point, and then it's
He's
like, oh
like,
yeah, that
maybe
would make more sense.
Well, like when they're leaving the prison, so when Batman's been locked up, this is how they introduce them all, because they're all locked up in the same prison.
Right.
And then as they're leaving, someone makes a suggestion that like, hey, I think it's Robin. He's like, we could just let out all the bad guys and they could help us fight the other bad guys. And someone's like, get the bad guys to fight the other bad guys? That's a stupid idea. Why would anyone do that? Which
I missed that
was
line.
hilarious. That was really,
Yep.
I think it was Rosario Dawson is just like, that's a stupid idea. We're not going to do that, which made me laugh a lot. But then towards the end of the movie, they actually end up going back to that idea and letting the guys out to help.
Yeah.
And it's like, it just, like, I know it was silly, but it made so much more sense than the actual film. It was like, oh God. So you are capable, DC. Yeah. You are capable of hiring people who know how to make a fucking film. Why are you not doing that for the big ones? What's happening?
Because here's what I think is happening though, is in the Lego movie or in the Lego Batman movies, they see so much of like an opportunity and so much of it, like they know what that market is, right? They know who's going to see it and they know what they're making money on, that when they're hitting all that stuff, they probably don't even tune in for the self-aware stuff, like the executive people. I can't imagine they're like, haha, yeah, you're like, we are all self-aware. They just don't give a shit because they know that there's going to be 100
That's what I was going to say, because I was wondering if it's like an exec thing, like what exec would sign off on that. I wonder if it's like I have a sense of humor, but they're actually being roasted, like in kind of a mean way.
Yeah.
Like it's not
they're
a
fully
very
roasting
nice
themselves.
way of saying like that is stupid. That was a stupid idea
I
for
don't know,
a movie
I
that we
feel like
made
it's
that
pretty
we know was
self-aware.
not good. Yeah, no,
the
of course
movie
it's
is
self-aware, but
self-aware,
it's like
but
it's crazy that an
No, but I
exec
mean
would
that
sign
joke.
off
Like
on that.
someone behind the scenes did sign off on that, and I have
what
to
I'm
just
saying.
assume
Yeah.
that they. I'm sorry. So firstly, you cut off there for a second, so you may have just said exactly what I'm saying. But I don't think it's a coincidence, and I think they know that they're being that mean to themselves.
But is it to
they
themselves?
must.
Because it's the writers who bring it to the execs who have to go like, yeah, okay, that's fine. But I don't know. Because the other thing I pointed out to Dom was that Steve Mnuchin is the executive producer on this movie, who is now our Treasury Secretary of the United States, which is a
that's great.
friggin' nightmare.
Isn't that insane?
So, by the way, just on a side note, I'm really sorry.
Hey,
that, like,
no,
sorry.
I'm sorry for
You're
you guys. We're all going to
dealing
share
with-
the nuclear holocaust. That's
Yep.
going to happen to all of us. So don't worry.
So
Don't worry about it.
upsetting.
You'll have plenty of time.
And suddenly I've become really self-aware and existential, and I'm like, why are we sitting here talking about a fucking Lego movie when the
Yeah.
world is
Yeah.
burning around us?
Well, because
You know what? This
The
is the
world
only
is on
option.
fire. What are we
This is
doing?
it
exactly.
won't always be. Somebody will put it out, and then we'll need to make a new Batman movie.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
is what you do in the face of crushing despair. Is you got to just talk about Batman.
Yeah. Oh, I could link the two as well. We could talk about Mark Hamill and his wonderful depictions of Donald Trump as the
Yes.
Joker lately. Oh man, I've been really enjoying those.
Have you seen that, Tim?
No, what is it?
He does he goes on and he reads Donald Trump tweets like the Joker in his Joker voice and just like uploads them, and it's funny.
Oh, speaking of which, Zach Galifianakis is the Joker.
Yeah.
I thought I didn't even realize it was him until the end of the
Yeah.
movie, and I was just like, wow,
Oh,
I
okay.
haven't seen him like play a character in a while.
yeah.
Yeah. And what's funny, like someone, I don't remember who pointed it out. Someone was like, I wish he was doing more of a Joker voice, or like, I wish there was something more noticeable about his Joker voice. And I was like, huh.
Okay, I'm just gonna. Sorry. Something's just on fire, like the tiniest. But I'm just gonna do it. Hold on.
What?
Oh fuck.
I think she's having
Okay,
issues
good.
on her end.
Great. No, it's fine. It's
Did you
just
say
my
something's
wall.
like on fire?
There was a candle. That with the.
Oh my god.
Everything's fine. Everything's fine.
That's
I
really
had a
nice.
can-
That,
I had a
excuse
candle
me for a
burning
minute.
and
There's
the
something on
the
fire.
Yeah, that
flame
was the
had
most.
grown like ridiculously high somehow, and there's a huge like black charred mark on my wall where it was sort of
no.
starting to burn. Oh no!
Just sorry, there's just a small fire.
This is one of those regional differences where, like, in the UK we say, "Excuse me, there's a fire." In the United States we go, "Fuck! Something's on fire!"
It wasn't like actually on fire, but my wall is black now, and I'm not sure if I
man.
can. I'm gonna have to paint that.
Now you'll always
Black like Batman.
Yeah, you'll always remember the
Yeah.
day you did the Lego Batman Reasonable Beef podcast.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
I'm gonna send you a picture
so
of
The
it.
sets were great.
So this is
Sorry, let's get back
like
to it.
right?
Segue. No, it's okay. Oh, hang on a moment.
Oh, Nick's coming in. He's coming in. I guess we shouldn't have done this right in the like main part of the house.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's okay.
What's up?
We're good. All right. Don't acknowledge him. Back to this.
Oh,
We're professionals.
don't acknowledge him.
What do we want to talk about?
I think we're good. I mean, we all like it, right? And I feel guilty because I was just trying to stir the pot a little bit in asking that question of like, is this made for Batman fans? But like, of course it is.
Yeah.
I don't mean that it's not. I'm just saying like it's that it's
All
that
right,
thing.
run around.
This is pop culture.
Final thoughts, Hazel. What are your final
Oh
thoughts?
my
on the
god,
film?
we're final thoughting? Okay.
I guess.
What did you think about the fact that Robin is? Well, I mean, it doesn't say it directly, but it's implied that he's gay.
So wait, I didn't get this. I don't. No final thoughts. Fuck that. Because
Okay,
this
here we
is
go.
interesting.
Jump into the game.
I'm sorry, I just was like fuck final
I've
thoughts.
heard this
I want
talked
to talk
about. I've heard this talked about on like conservative blogs or whatever, talking about how he's like it normalizes gay marriage or gay adoption. What the hell? I have
my
no
God.
idea.
Two
It's-
dads.
So all these
Oh, he does
like
have two dads. Yeah.
Catholic evangelists are going batshit because pun intended.
Yep.
Because I've sent you a picture of my charred wall, by the way. Sorry, back to the. So there's a bunch of
Sweet. I can't wait.
I'm
Catholic
gonna make it the cover
evangelists.
for the episode.
There's a bunch of these people who are really pissed off because they think that it's somehow like, promoting the idea of adoption into a family where there are two fathers, essentially. Because I guess they're looking at Alfred and Batman as two kind of father figures.
Well,
to
I'm pretty sure
Robin.
he says literally, "I have two dads" when he talks
Yeah,
about
yeah.
Batman, and I think that's what they're referring to. No.
Yeah, but this is just
Yeah.
going further in that.
But also, isn't he himself supposed to be gay? Or it's implied.
In what way? I don't know. I didn't get. He didn't do
It's
anything
just the
particularly gay.
fanciful- I mean, he's got the pants and.
Oh, I
know,
forgot.
they're-
I forgot that there's gay pants that they all wear. That they all wear the same.
They are harping on a certain kind of comedic stereotype with Robin for sure.
Yeah.
They're like going because that's been this joke forever about Robin, right? Is like that he's like kind of like a
fancy
twinky
boy.
little fancy boy, yeah. And it's like, yeah, that's funny. But I was gonna say that this is even further into your point though, a little bit, Hazel, about like, and I mean this in a good way. I'm not saying they have like, or maybe I guess this means they do have reason to be like up in arms about it. But you're saying the thing about like the nuclear family, if you don't have that, you don't have your right, what you consider a normal family, start making a family together. And you're seeing like Robin of Batman and Robin come into a situation and go, yay, I have two dads. And he's just immediately excited about the prospect of having two dads.
Yeah.
That's kind of like, I don't want to, that's not like a message or anything, but that's like a very that's a positive reaction to something that is not the normal situation.
Yeah, like even 15 years ago, that would be like a joke of like two dads. Like it would be like, yeah.
And in this, no, they don't even go down that road at all. They're just like, yeah, no, Robin is immediately excited to have two dads.
Of course. Sorry. I was thinking it was Batman and Alfred. It's not. It's the fact that he thinks Bruce Wayne and Batman are two different people and they're going to be his dads. I forgot. Which isn't even actually the case, but yeah.
This just comes. I mean, it's what a weird time to pick that fight.
People don't watch movies, man.
That's just a weird. Why this? Why a Lego Batman movie? Because it's like it all is just circling back to the same problem. It's that they would have in the first place is like, oh, they don't think that gay people should be able to adopt kids or like aren't fit parents or that's not a good home.
What it most likely is there was like 5 people mad about it,
right.
And then like BuzzFeed picked it up and was just like, people are furious about Lego Batman.
And there were some people even, I swear to God, they were complaining about in the first scene, Batman and the Joker have a sort of, the conversation is about Batman telling him he's not his real arch nemesis and it's not that big a deal, and it's done in the style of like a breakup conversation. Even there was like criticism against that about like it sort of like creating this kind of gay relationship between Batman and the Joker.
Not gay. No, dude. Batman's not gay.
It's just insane. And it's like, what I was going to say about it is that the thing of it is we've come out going, we don't know if Dick Grayson is gay or not. It's certainly implied that he's quite effeminate. He's quite camp.
Effeminate and camp.
And he's sort of he's getting bullied by the other kids and stuff back at the orphanage. Yeah. But what I love is that...
The kids call me Dick. Children can be cruel.
Children can be cruel. That's really good. But I think it's really nice that like it's not a big issue in the film. It just sort of is what it is, in the same way that we're now dealing with Barbara instead of her father, and she's not white, and we never reference that. And Robin might be gay, and we never really reference that. Like there's kind of this nuclear family difference in that maybe he has 2 dads, but we don't really linger on it. And I do feel like they did kind of sneak a lot of like progressive shit in there without ever really having to hammer you over the head with it.
I hate that society is making me more tolerant because I didn't even notice. I didn't notice the gay shit with Robin. I didn't notice that she's a person of color. I was just like, yeah, this is the way. Like, I hate that, like the children's book bullshit.
You don't hate it.
Because I always call this out when I see a children's book and it's like, an Asian dude in a wheelchair and like a black guy and like a white guy. And I'm like, these people would never hang out, but now I'm starting to think they will.
Aww, that's really sweet,
dude. I'm so sorry. Society's really fucked you up, good and proper.
Yeah, dude. I hate that I'm not cynical anymore.
No, see, this is beautiful. This is the stuff you need. This is what we've said a million times as far as the normalization of anything, and like it doesn't always need to be a heavy-handed like make a point about this.
Yeah.
If you just do it, if you just go, and that's like the same thing of like having a gay character, having like just do it, just make they're gay, and then that's not even a thing. There's not even a subplot about their boyfriend or whatever. It's just they just are gay.
No, and we don't question why Barbara is not white, but Commissioner Gordon clearly was. Like, there's no, there's no shoehorned in thing about her mother, you know what I mean? Or like, or whatever, or her being adopted. Yeah. It's just not even addressed. And I think to some degree, it's great that you're not noticing. And I think what it is obviously, as a woman myself and as a writer and a filmmaker myself, this is stuff that I'm particularly aware of. And when I see good female representation, that's just something that stands out to me. So I think that's why I noticed her more than anything. But it's so fucking great that I see like my nephew and my niece as well. I have like 6 nieces and a nephew, but he is so into Lego Batman. I mean, it's insane. And it's actually great because they sent me out a bunch of Lego stuff, just, you know, hey Hazel, here's some Lego Batman stuff, which I'm obviously not going to use, but I'm going to bring it home to him and he'll love it. But I think it's so great that like I could, but I've already shipped it to Ireland. Sorry,
my address on the podcast.
PO box.
Send it to me.
But it's cool that there's this little like 6-year-old boy going to be watching these films, and whereas in the 80s when I was growing up, you just didn't have any good female characters in stuff like this. He's going to be seeing that, and without even realizing, like subconsciously, he's taking that in, that hey, she just works alongside these guys and she's equal to them, and that's fine, and that's great, and she's a woman of color, and that's fine, and this kid might be gay, and that's fine. It's just, I think that's really great
because it's when it's almost when you do make it a point, or when it's very much, oh, we're trying to say something, that ostracizes it more, and then it stays a thing, and then it's still a thing when that's different. Oh, they're doing a thing. It's like, no, just make normal. It's normal. Just be. There's so many people. That's true. That's reasonable beef.
Different people.
There's so many people.
There's so many damn people. Just be normal. Yeah. Dom Farah.
That is really that does encapsulate a lot of my views. There's so many people.
Put it on a cushion.
All right, I'm starting to...
I'm glad we went. I forgot that was a I just saw that the other day. I forgot that was a thing people were up in arms about. I'm glad we went there.
You know what? We should go to each one of their houses individually.
Yeah.
And just like, you know...
have a conversation with them. Just sit down and say, why? Why do you like this?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, educate. That's what I was going to say. We should go to their houses and educate them.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. With bats. Wait, hold on. Like baseball bats or bats?
Bats.
Like an army of actual bats.
Yes. I have talking bats that I use to help teach.
No, I just imagine you walking with a box of live bats.
I was going to just like, send them a package of bats. Like, and they just open it. And...
they're educational bats. They carry around flashcards. They hide up in your attic and they'll come down sometimes. They'll be like, oh, what's the square root of 77?
And some of the bats are gay, and that's fine.
Yeah. Normalize
some
gay
of them
bats
are white,
in a
some
box.
of them are black, some of them are Asian. That's fine.
If you have a white bat, I want to see that bat.
Yep. Well,
all right.
Good.
Should we do it?
Wow.
Yeah, I'm sweating through my shirt. So I'm going to go to final thoughts. Dom, final thoughts about Lagos Batman.
Again, it's hard. It plays by its own rules. It is what it is, and it knows what it is, and I will always appreciate that anytime I see anything when someone just does their thing.
Hazel, final thoughts about Batman.
It's a solid film, fun for all the family. Literally, I think it's ideal for both kids and grown-ups, and it's funny as fuck.
It is very fucking super funny.
Yeah.
I think it's a little emotionally saccharine, but I think you're going to have a really fun time. And the visuals, I mean, we didn't even touch on the visuals, but of course they look friggin' awesome.
Stunning.
Because they're an interesting style of stop motion. I don't even know if it's... I don't think it's stop motion, but it's like imitating stop motion, which is brilliant. Because there's such that community of like Lego filmmakers who do it like that.
Yeah.
It's a very nice nod to them. But anyway.
Yeah.
I was going to say, even about the first movie, that blew my mind after the first trailer when someone said to me, that's not... I just thought it was very well done.
Stop motion.
Yeah, I thought, and then they did like all the action scenes with them flipping around and everything, and someone was like, oh, there's CGI. And that's even crazier because then there's some little dweeb, or who's not, he's like an adult now, but someone who was doing like the first in the Lego stop motion community.
He's a big dweeb.
Directly influenced the Lego movie, the style of the Lego
culture.
movie.
4chan elected Donald Trump. The internet is fucking future. Okay, we're gonna do Three-Headed Critic, and then we're gonna bring this whole thing to a damn close. All right, I'm gonna start with Hazel. Give me one word that is gonna go to Dom, then me, then back to you.
When?
Did you explain this at all?
I did. Okay.
I did it. I did my word. When?
Okay, sorry.
Why did I start with that? I'm so
movie
sorry. Is
going.
You
are
going
to.
Great. I'm sorry. I thought we stopped, and I stopped.
Did you say drink?
I thought we were
When this movie is going, you're going to drink?
No, I just thought it was when this movie is going, you are going. And I stopped because I felt like that was closure to the sentence.
When this movie
is going, you're going to great. That is what she. That is what we got.
All right, when the movie's going, remember to grate, everybody.
You're gonna grate.
It's super important. All right, thank you so much, Hazel Hayes, for joining us
Thank you
in my room on an iPad.
This was
Thank
awesome.
you for having me in my room on a laptop. That sounds weirder than it was supposed to.
Thank you for having me. If you're ever in Los Angeles, we'd love to have you on an actual in my
real
room.
human in life.
I would
episode.
love
That'd be great.
to.
Well, come on down. Next time I'll see you.
This was a good one. I'm happy.
All right, guys. Have a wonderful night. And so long.
So long.
Thanks.
Alf Wiederzanes.
Alf Wiener's saying.
Yeah.
Bye.
All right, got it. Hi there, everyone. Timmy here. I'm still. Please forgive me. Thank you so much for listening. I've got some advice for you. Buy stocks and bonds. Brush your teeth before and after you sleep. And if you like what you heard here, please head over to www.patreon.com/reasonablebeef. Your pledges help make this thing. Please help make this thing. Thank you. Also consider leaving a nice little review on YouTube, or iTunes. If you're listening on YouTube, like, comment, sub, whatever. If you aren't watching us on YouTube, hey, all these will be on YouTube pretty soon. That's youtube.com/TimEkish1. So go listen to that. Thank you, and have a blessed day.